everybody, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going deep on natural mosquito control.
Ooh, very timely.
Right. It is the season.
Definitely.
And we've got all these chemical sprays, but we're looking at some cool alternatives today.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into that, organic living and want something a little more eco-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at this in-depth article today, why all-natural mosquito control baits work better than mosquito sprays.
Okay.
And this is straight from the experts over at Pest.
Interesting.
So we're going to unpack this and see if these natural methods actually work and, how they could be a better option for all of us.
Yeah, it's fascinating how pest control is evolving, right?
Right.
It's not just about getting rid of the bugs anymore.
Yeah.
It's about doing it in a way that's safe for, everybody involved, including the environment.
Totally. And so this article talks about attractive toxic sugar baits.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the name itself, I was hooked.
Yeah.
What are these things? So they're traps or little stations. Oh,
They have this sugary solution in them.
right.
But here's the kicker. It's laced with a natural insecticide
Gotcha.
that's specifically designed to target mosquitoes. So I'm assuming this plays on mosquitoes being attracted to sugar, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting is that both male and female mosquitoes are attracted to sugar.
Oh, okay.
So these baits are basically exploiting that, natural craving they have,
Right.
offering them a tasty meal,
Right.
but it's their last,
Oof.
which is a key advantage over sprays.
Okay.
Because sprays, they often just rely on direct contact or they just repel mosquitoes, which makes them less effective in the long run.
Interesting. So it's like tricking them, right?
Yeah.
They go for the treat and then...
And that's it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
One thing that really stood out to me was this statistic. Studies are showing that these baits can reduce mosquito populations by 57.4%.
That's huge.
I know, especially in September, which is when they're most active, right?
That's not just a small reduction. That's
a significant chunk.
Yeah. Were there any downsides in the study?
Well, there were some studies that mentioned that, the effectiveness can vary depending on weather, the types of mosquitoes, and how consistently the baits are maintained.
Okay.
But even with those, variations, the overall reduction in mosquito numbers was significant.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because real-world conditions, there's always going to be some variation.
Exactly.
But a reduction of that size, even with those factors, is impressive.
Absolutely.
And what about the Anopheles mosquitoes, the ones that spread malaria?
Yeah.
Does the article say anything about that?
Yes. So that's where these baits become even more crucial, actually.
Okay.
The article highlighted how these baits are especially effective against Anopheles mosquitoes, which, as you said, are the main carriers of malaria.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just about, personal comfort anymore. It's a potential game changer for community health, especially in regions where malaria is a big problem.
That's huge. So it's like a double win.
Totally.
Fewer mosquito bites, and you're also potentially reducing malaria transmission.
Yeah.
It's like a ripple effect.
Absolutely.
But what about other creatures like bees?
Yeah.
Are they safe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's another big advantage of natural baits.
Okay.
They're designed to be very specific in what they attract.
Gotcha.
So they use ingredients that are appealing to mosquitoes,
Right.
like certain sugars or smells, but they're not attractive to other insects like, bees.
That's a relief. Because I used to, before I knew about this stuff, I used to just drench my yard
I know, right?
and spray every week, and it barely made a dent.
Yeah.
And I was always worried about the bees and the butterflies.
Right.
So it's amazing to me how this, simple approach is so much more effective and eco-friendly.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
I'm curious about, the community aspect.
Yeah.
Because the article talked about, community involvement being important for success.
Right. Right. One of the really cool things about natural baits is they encourage, participation from the community.
Okay.
Imagine if everyone in a neighborhood set up these baits.
Right.
You're essentially creating this, large protected area.
Wow.
And you're reducing the overall mosquito population much more effectively.
It's like a neighborhood watch.
Exactly.
But for mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's a great way to, get everyone involved.
Totally. And it aligns with this growing trend, right? The article mentioned that 2 out of 3 people
Wow.
now prefer natural pest control methods.
That's a big number.
I know. It shows a shift in awareness, and people want solutions that work with nature.
That's great to see.
Yeah. Instead of waging war on nature, we can find solutions that actually work with it.
Absolutely.
But how do these natural baits, how do they target the mosquito life cycle?
That's a great question.
Right.
They're designed to kind of like disrupt the mosquito life cycle at its most critical point.
Okay.
Reproduction.
Oh,
They attract and eliminate those older female mosquitoes.
Yeah.
The ones that are laying eggs.
the egg layers.
Yes. And in some cases, they can even achieve like a 100% reduction.
What?
Yeah. In certain months, which is incredible.
That's amazing.
Right. And this, directly impacts the next generation of mosquitoes.
So you're cutting off the source.
Exactly. It's like a proactive approach
Wow.
that focuses on long-term population management instead of just reacting to an infestation.
Right. So it's long term. It's not just reacting to what's happening now.
Exactly.
It's like preventing it in the future.
That's the goal.
And this impact is in both the rainy and dry seasons.
Yeah, so you're right. Mosquito activity fluctuates with the seasons.
Yeah.
But what's cool is that these baits, they maintain their effectiveness year-round.
Really?
Yeah, they can significantly reduce the population during the rainy season, up to 70%.
Wow. Okay.
And even a considerable amount during the drier months.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
Because I thought we'd have to, go back to the sprays in those drier months. Right.
When the mosquitoes are still around, but not as much.
Yeah,
But it sounds like these natural baits, can provide that consistent protection all year round.
exactly. It's about having a sustainable solution that works with nature's rhythm,
Totally. Okay, so natural mosquito control is looking pretty good so far.
It is.
But let's talk about the big thing, cost.
Right. The elephant in the room.
Right. Are these natural methods easy on the wallet, or are we talking premium prices here?
Well, this is where it gets even better.
Okay.
Natural baits are actually surprisingly cost effective, especially when you compare them to, those chemical sprays that you have to constantly buy and reapply.
Okay. I am all for saving money,
Right.
especially if it means being good to the planet.
Yeah.
But how do they actually save money in the long run?
It's kind of a combo of factors.
Okay.
First, the initial investment in natural baits is often lower than buying all those sprays and the equipment you need for them.
Okay.
And remember how we talked about the community aspect?
Yeah. Well, if like a neighborhood gets together and shares the costs of maintaining these baits,
Right.
it becomes even more affordable.
It's like a community garden.
Exactly.
For mosquito control.
Yeah, and everyone benefits, and the cost is shared, so it makes it accessible to more people.
I love that.
It's a win-win.
It really is. Plus, if you think about the long-term healthcare costs from mosquito-borne illnesses,
Oh, absolutely.
if you reduce the mosquito population, you're also reducing the risk of getting sick, which can be really expensive to treat.
It's a great point. We often get caught up in the annoyance of the bites,
Yeah.
but we forget about the bigger picture,
Yeah.
the health risks.
Exactly.
So natural baits are like a proactive step towards a healthier lifestyle.
Totally. And potentially lower healthcare costs in the future.
Exactly.
But I'm curious about, how long does this protection actually last?
Right.
Are we talking a few days, a week? What are we talking about?
That's another area where natural baits really shine. They offer this long-lasting protection that often remains effective for weeks.
Wow, really?
Yeah, rain or shine,
Okay.
which is a big advantage over sprays that need to be reapplied so often.
Wow, that is impressive.
Right.
So less maintenance, more peace of mind.
Exactly.
Are there any specific examples of how long they last?
Yeah. So some studies have shown that these baits can be effective for a whole month or even longer.
No way.
Yeah. It depends on, the environment and how many mosquitoes are around.
Okay.
But this long-lasting effect, combined with their targeted approach to disrupting the mosquito life cycle,
Right.
it makes them a really sustainable solution.
That changes everything. For me, at least, because,
Right.
I don't have time to be out there spraying my yard all the time.
Exactly. So it's much more convenient
Way more convenient.
and more effective.
Yeah. And you can actually make it even more long-lasting, right?
Yes. You can actually combine natural baits with other methods,
Okay.
like using insecticide-treated bed nets.
Oh.
That creates a more layered approach.
So it's like you're attacking it from all angles.
Exactly.
I like it. So we've talked about effectiveness, cost, the fact that it lasts a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk about the practicality.
Yeah.
How easy are these baits to actually use?
Right.
Is this something anyone can do, or do you need special skills or equipment?
One of the best things about natural mosquito control is that it's super user-friendly.
Okay, good.
You don't need any special skills
Okay.
or fancy equipment.
Okay.
In fact, a lot of these methods can be DIY,
Oh, cool.
using simple stuff you probably already have at home.
That's awesome. that means that, anyone can do it regardless of budget or like how much they know.
Exactly. It makes it really accessible.
That's great. So give me an example. Like, what's a DIY method that people can use?
Sure. One of the simplest and most effective ways is to just use a plastic bottle to make a trap.
Okay.
So you cut the top off, you flip it over to make like a funnel, and you fill the bottom with sugar water and yeast.
Okay.
And that mixture actually produces carbon dioxide, which attracts mosquitoes.
It's like a little homemade mosquito magnet.
Exactly.
Right. What else?
Another popular method is using essential oils.
Oh, yeah.
Like citronella, lavender, lemon eucalyptus, things like that.
I love those.
Yeah. And you can just mix a few drops with water in a spray bottle.
Easy.
And use it as a repellent.
Okay.
Or you can even add those oils to candles or diffusers to create like a mosquito-repelling ambiance in your backyard.
That's awesome. It's like pest control meets aromatherapy.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, but what about for people like me who are not crafty at all?
Sure.
What are some super simple things they can do?
Well, don't underestimate the power of just incorporating natural repellents into your landscaping.
Oh.
So planting herbs like basil, rosemary, mint around your patio.
Got it.
Can help deter mosquitoes naturally.
So they smell good and they work.
Exactly. 2 birds, 1 stone.
I love it. Okay, any other super simple things?
Yeah. One of the simplest things you can do is to eliminate standing water around your property.
Oh, that's right.
That's one of the most important things to prevent mosquito breeding in the first place.
Yeah.
So just, empty any containers, bird baths, anything that can hold water regularly.
It's amazing to me that something so easy,
I know, right?
can have such a big impact.
It's all about being mindful of our surroundings and taking those small steps that add up to big results.
Absolutely. So it's really about shifting our mindset from reacting to these mosquitoes to preventing them.
Exactly.
And being proactive.
It's about working with nature instead of against it.
Totally. This has been fascinating, this exploration of natural mosquito control.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It feels like such a more holistic and sustainable approach.
Absolutely.
Than just relying on those chemical sprays all the time.
Definitely.
And it's something that everyone can be a part of,
Yeah, I love that about it.
No matter your budget or your expertise or your lifestyle.
Exactly. Everyone can do their part.
Yeah, and it's empowering to know that we have choices.
Absolutely.
And we can make choices that benefit our health and the environment.
That's a win-win.
It really is.
For everyone.
For everyone. And we are back, diving even deeper into natural mosquito control.
Yeah.
It's been amazing to kind of uncover the science behind all this stuff.
Right.
But I'm also really intrigued by how this connects to the bigger picture,
Yeah. It's not just a practical solution.
Right.
It can be like a catalyst for positive change.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah, so imagine a neighborhood where everyone's on board with natural mosquito control.
Okay.
They're setting up those baits, they're planting the right plants, they're eliminating those breeding sites together.
Right.
And this shared effort can really create a sense of unity.
Yeah, it's like a community garden.
Exactly.
But for mosquito control.
Yeah, everyone benefits.
Yeah.
And it's more sustainable.
Right, because everyone's sharing the responsibility.
Exactly.
So it's not just about getting rid of pests, it's about building a community.
Right. It creates a healthier and more vibrant community.
Yeah, because people can enjoy their outdoor spaces more.
Exactly.
So they can have those gatherings, they can have events, they can connect.
Exactly. It's a holistic approach,
Totally.
It recognizes that human health, environmental health, and social well-being are all connected.
So it's like this ripple effect,
Yeah.
Just choosing natural mosquito control.
It can have a bigger impact.
Yeah, it's inspiring to see that individual actions can contribute to this collective positive impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it all starts with awareness.
Right.
And a willingness to try new things.
Totally. And speaking of, trying new things, the article mentions that these natural baits are safer for wildlife than the traditional insecticides.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, could you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so unlike those broad-spectrum insecticides that can harm all kinds of insects, birds, animals,
right,
natural baits are designed to be more specific.
Gotcha.
So they target the mosquitoes, but have minimal impact on other species.
So it's they're really focusing in on the mosquitoes.
Exactly.
And not just wiping out everything.
Right, and they often use ingredients that come from plants.
Okay.
Like essential oils, which are generally considered safe for wildlife.
Right.
And they break down quickly in the environment, so there's less risk of long-term harm.
Okay, that's good to know. So it's all about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Protecting ourselves from mosquitoes, but also, protecting the ecosystem.
Absolutely. Speaking of, I'm kind of curious about those common questions
Yeah,
that people might have.
right.
Like, the practical stuff.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Like, I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
like, how often do you need to check those bait stations?
Yeah.
And when do you know it's time to replace them?
Right. Good question.
Is it like a set it and forget it kind of thing?
Not really.
Or do you need to, like, pay attention to them?
It depends,
Okay.
Depends on what kind of bait station you have, how many mosquitoes are around, and the weather.
Okay.
But a good rule of thumb is to check them at least once a week,
Okay.
especially during those peak mosquito times.
Okay, so it's good to just be proactive and, like, keep an eye on them.
Yeah, definitely.
What are, like, some signs that it's time for a refill?
Well, if the solution's gone or if the trap is like full of mosquitoes,
Yeah.
that's a good sign. And after it rains a lot, it's a good idea to check it. Because rain can, like, dilute the solution and make it less effective.
So it's about staying ahead of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And making sure the baits are always working.
Exactly. Now, I'm sure people are wondering about safety.
Oh, yeah.
How safe are these natural baits?
Compared to the, the chemical stuff.
Right, right. And the answer is pretty reassuring.
Okay.
They're way less toxic.
Okay, good.
They use plant-based ingredients, which are much safer for everyone.
For people, pets.
Everything.
Okay, that's
So you
easy.
can protect yourselves without those harsh chemicals.
Right, right. What about storing them?
Oh, yeah, good question.
Any special tips for that?
Yeah, you want to store them properly to keep them working well.
Right.
So keep them in airtight containers so they don't dry out.
Okay,
Keep them in a cool, dry place.
got it.
Heat and humidity can mess with the ingredients.
Okay, so airtight, cool, dry, I can remember that.
Exactly.
But what about, like, different environments?
Yeah.
Do these baits work the same everywhere, or are they better in certain places?
They tend to work best in places where mosquitoes love to hang out.
Okay.
Places with standing water,
Right.
lots of plants, warm temperatures.
Right. But they can still work in other places.
Yeah, you might just need to adjust things a bit.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
in drier climates, put the bait stations closer to where mosquitoes might breed. Shady spots with a little moisture.
Makes sense, yeah.
And in cities, it's super important to get rid of any standing water.
Right, that's where they breed.
Exactly.
So it's about being proactive, understanding where they breed,
Mhm.
and making those spots less appealing.
Exactly. Okay, back to the beneficial insects.
Yeah.
I think it's important to talk about them again.
Okay.
People are probably worried about these baits attracting bees and other pollinators.
Right, yeah.
But that's why they're designed so carefully.
Okay.
They use things that mosquitoes love, like certain sugars or scents,
Right.
but that bees and butterflies don't care about.
So it's like a very targeted approach.
Exactly. We want to get the mosquitoes without messing up the ecosystem.
Exactly. So we've talked about effectiveness, the cost, how long they last, and how they affect other creatures.
Right.
Now, I want to talk about the long-term impact of all of this.
Okay.
Is this a sustainable solution?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's really at the heart of why natural mosquito control is so appealing. It's not just about getting rid of mosquitoes right now. It's about managing the population long term.
So it's not just like a Band-Aid fix.
No, it's about preventing future problems.
And creating a healthier ecosystem.
Exactly. We need to shift our thinking from reacting to preventing.
So instead of waiting for them to be a problem, we stop them before they start.
Right. By targeting their life cycle, getting rid of breeding sites, and making the environment less appealing to them, we can get those long-term results.
We can, like, take charge of our surroundings and make them mosquito unfriendly.
Exactly. And, the community plays a big role in that long-term success.
Right, because if everyone's doing it...
It's more effective.
Yeah, exactly.
It creates a larger protected area, reduces the overall population.
Yeah. It's like creating a culture of responsibility.
Yeah.
Where everyone's doing their part to keep their environment healthy.
Exactly.
And mosquito-free.
Absolutely. And education is key here,
Yeah.
The more people know about mosquitoes, the better choices they can make about pest control.
Yeah, totally.
So community workshops, online resources, even just talking to neighbors.
Yeah.
All of that helps.
It's about empowering people with knowledge.
Exactly.
So they can make good choices.
Right. Choices that are good for their health and the environment.
And support those local businesses that are using these natural methods.
Oh, absolutely.
It's about, putting our money where our mouth is.
Exactly. You're supporting businesses that align with your values.
Right. So creating long-term solutions for mosquito control.
Hmm.
It's not just one thing. It's about shifting our mindset, taking those proactive steps, working together.
Yeah, it's multifaceted. Individuals, communities, businesses, all working together.
Yeah, exactly. And making those informed choices.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a holistic journey.
It's amazing to me how something as simple as, choosing natural mosquito control
Right.
can actually be part of a much bigger change.
It can.
A change that benefits everyone and the planet.
I agree. It's a reminder that even small actions can make a difference.
Yeah.
For a more sustainable future.
Absolutely. This has been really eye-opening.
It has.
This whole exploration of natural mosquito control, from the science to the tips to, the bigger picture.
It's been great.
It really has, yeah.
I hope it sparked some curiosity
Yeah.
and inspired people to try out these natural methods.
Me too. Before we wrap up, is there a final thought-provoking question that you want to leave our listeners with?
Okay, here it is. Could this shift towards natural mosquito control
Okay.
be a gateway to a bigger change in how we deal with pests? Could it be a starting point for a more holistic and sustainable approach?
That's a great question.
One that benefits both people and the planet?
I love that question.
I think it can be, and I hope people join the movement.
It reminds us that even our small choices
Right.
can be part of a bigger shift towards a healthier future.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
It's been great.
Diving deep with you today.
Likewise. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you next time for another fascinating topic. And we are back for the final part of our deep dive into natural mosquito control.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. I mean, we've learned so much.
Yeah.
I feel like my whole perspective on mosquito control has shifted.
I'm glad to hear that.
For years, I just thought those chemical sprays were the only option.
Right. A lot of people think that.
But now I see that there's a whole other way to approach this.
Absolutely.
And it's not just, about being eco-friendly. It's actually more effective in the long run.
Exactly. And it's empowering.
It really is. It's like taking back control.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling helpless against these, these little bloodsuckers.
Right. You're not at their mercy anymore.
So for our listeners who are, feeling inspired by all this, but maybe a little overwhelmed,
Sure.
Where do we even begin?
Start small. Don't try to do everything at once.
Right.
Just pick one or two things that resonate with you and try them out in your own yard.
Okay, so what? Give us some examples.
Well, you could try building that DIY trap with the plastic bottle we talked about.
Right.
That's a fun project.
Yeah.
Or if you want something simpler, just plant some mosquito-repelling herbs around your patio.
I love that idea. And you don't have to be a gardening expert or anything.
Not at all.
Just a few plants can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
And don't forget about getting rid of standing water.
Oh, yeah, that's key.
That's like breeding ground number one.
It is. Just walk around your property and empty anything that can hold water.
Buckets, containers, bird baths.
Yeah, all of it.
It's amazing how much of a difference that one simple thing can make.
I know, right? Small steps, big impact.
Totally. And as you start to see results, you'll probably feel even more motivated to try other things.
Definitely. It's encouraging.
Yeah, maybe you'll talk to your neighbors about setting up community bait stations. Or, share what you've learned with friends and family.
Spread the word.
It's like a ripple effect, right?
Absolutely. It starts with you and spreads outward.
I love that. And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
Right.
There are so many resources out there.
There are?
Online, community groups, even experts you can talk to.
Yeah, if you're feeling lost or unsure, just reach out for help.
Exactly. There's a whole community of people who are passionate about this stuff.
Absolutely. And as you learn more, you'll start to see that it's not just about mosquito control.
Right.
It's about changing how we interact with nature.
Yeah, it's about moving away from this battle mentality and finding ways to coexist peacefully.
I love that. It's a journey.
It really is.
And it starts in our own backyards.
Absolutely. And it extends to, all areas of our lives.
Right.
The products we use, the food we eat, everything.
It's about making conscious choices.
Yeah, choices that support a healthier planet.
Because our actions have consequences.
Yeah.
And we all have the power to make a difference.
Even in small ways, it all adds up.
Exactly.
This deep dive into natural mosquito control has been, more than just learning about methods.
It's about a bigger shift.
Yeah, it's about realizing that we are connected to nature.
Yeah.
And we have the power to make things better.
I couldn't agree more.
Well said. To our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this episode.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
And that you feel empowered to take control of your mosquito situation naturally.
Remember, it's not just about enjoying your yard.
Right.
It's about creating a healthier planet.
A more sustainable future.
For everyone.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of natural mosquito control.
It's been a pleasure.
And from all of us here at the Deep Dive, we'll catch you next time for another insightful exploration.